In the unforgiving world of military training, where respect is earned through blood, sweat, and unwavering determination, one moment can define everything. Sarah Martinez never imagined that a single split-second decision would transform her from an overlooked recruit into a legend whispered about in Navy SEAL training facilities across the country. The morning sun cast long shadows across the training compound as she stood among her fellow candidates, the only woman in a sea of hardened men who questioned whether she belonged there. What happened next would shatter every assumption, challenge every stereotype, and prove that true strength isn't measured by the size of your muscles, but by the fire burning in your heart. This is the story of how a 5'4" woman from small-town Texas took down a decorated Navy SEAL commander in front of his entire unit, and in doing so, earned something far more valuable than victory. She earned respect that would follow her through the most dangerous missions of her military career. Some called it luck, others called it skill, but those who witnessed it firsthand knew the truth. They had just seen something extraordinary unfold before their eyes. Sarah Martinez grew up in the dusty town of Levelland, Texas, where the biggest excitement usually came from Friday night football games and the annual county fair. Her childhood home sat on the edge of town, a modest ranch house where her father worked as a mechanic and her mother taught elementary school. The Martinez family wasn't wealthy, but they were rich in values that would later serve Sarah well in ways she couldn't imagine. From an early age, Sarah displayed an unusual combination of determination and fearlessness that both delighted and worried her parents. While other girls her age were playing with dolls, Sarah was climbing the tallest trees in their backyard, racing her bicycle down the steepest hills, and challenging boys twice her size to wrestling matches in the school playground. Her mother, Rosa, often watched from the kitchen window as her daughter turned their backyard into her personal training ground, complete with obstacle courses made from old tires, rope swings, and anything else she could find. Her father, Miguel, recognized something special in his daughter. A former army mechanic who had served 2 tours overseas, he understood the military mindset better than most. He saw in Sarah the same restless energy that had driven him to enlist years earlier. But, unlike many fathers of his generation, Miguel never tried to channel Sarah's energy into more traditional feminine pursuits. Instead, he encouraged her adventurous spirit, teaching her basic self-defense moves in their garage and sharing stories about military life that sparked her imagination. The turning point came during Sarah's junior year of high school. The school had organized a visit from military recruiters, a routine event that most students either ignored or attended reluctantly. Sarah, however, found herself mesmerized by the presentation given by Gunnery Sergeant Patricia Williams, a Marine who spoke about her experiences serving in Afghanistan. As Sergeant Williams described the challenges and rewards of military service, something clicked inside Sarah's mind. After the presentation, Sarah approached Sergeant Williams with questions that surprised the veteran recruiter. Most high school students asked about college benefits or basic training requirements. Sarah wanted to know about combat roles, leadership opportunities, and the most challenging military specialties available to women. Her intensity and genuine curiosity impressed Williams, who spent an extra hour answering Sarah's questions and providing honest insights into military life. That evening, Sarah sat at the family dinner table and made an announcement that would change everything. She told her parents about her decision to pursue a military career, specifically aiming for the most elite units possible. Miguel nearly choked on his enchiladas, while Rosa dropped her fork with a loud clatter. The conversation that followed lasted well into the night, covering everything from practical concerns about military life to deeper questions about Sarah's motivations and goals. Rosa worried about the dangers her daughter would face, the discrimination she might encounter as a woman in a male-dominated field, and the physical and emotional toll of military service. Miguel shared these concerns but also understood the calling his daughter felt. He had experienced it himself decades earlier, and he recognized that trying to dissuade Sarah would only strengthen her resolve. Over the following weeks, Sarah threw herself into research about military careers and elite units. She spent hours in the school library and at home on the family computer, reading everything she could find about Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Marine Force Recon, and other special operations units. The more she learned, the more determined she became to prove that gender didn't define capability. Her high school guidance counselor, Mrs. Peterson, tried to steer Sarah toward more traditional career paths. During their meetings, she would suggest nursing programs, teaching degrees, or business schools, always with the best intentions but failing to understand Sarah's true calling. These conversations only reinforced Sarah's determination to prove that her dreams were valid and achievable. Sarah began preparing for military service with the same intensity she had brought to everything else in her life. She joined the high school wrestling team despite being the only girl and facing initial resistance from some coaches and parents. Her first practice was brutal. The boys on the team assumed she wouldn't last a week, and some of them took particular pleasure in testing her resolve during sparring sessions. The hazing was subtle, but persistent. Equipment would mysteriously disappear from her locker. Training partners would use excessive force during practice matches. Whispered comments followed her through the hallways, questioning her motives and predicting her failure. But Sarah absorbed every challenge, learned from every defeat, and gradually earned the respect of her teammates through pure determination and improving skill. Her wrestling coach, Tom Bradley, initially opposed having a girl on his team, but soon became one of Sarah's strongest advocates. He recognized her work ethic, coachability, and competitive spirit. More importantly, he saw how her presence elevated the entire team's performance. The boys couldn't afford to slack off with Sarah watching, and her dedication inspired everyone to train harder. Outside of wrestling, Sarah developed her own fitness routine that went far beyond what most high school athletes attempted. She ran 5 miles every morning before school, spent afternoons in a weight room, and dedicated evenings to studying military tactics and reading memoirs of special operations veterans. Her bedroom walls became covered with training schedules, fitness goals, and motivational quotes from military leaders. Her academic performance remained strong despite her intense focus on physical preparation. Sarah understood that military service required both mental and physical excellence. She maintained a 3.8 GPA while taking advanced courses in mathematics, science, and history. Her teachers noticed her ability to apply military strategic thinking to academic problems, often approaching assignments with a level of planning and execution that impressed everyone. The social aspects of high school became increasingly irrelevant to Sarah as her senior year progressed. While her classmates focused on prom dates, college parties, and typical teenage concerns, Sarah remained laser-focused on her military preparation. This dedication sometimes isolated her from her peers, but she found it easier to maintain friendships with like-minded individuals who respected her goals. Her relationship with her family deepened during this period. Miguel began sharing more detailed stories about his military service, providing Sarah with realistic insights into military culture, hierarchy, and the challenges she would face. Rosa, while still worried, started researching women's military experiences and slowly became more supportive of her daughter's unconventional path. The application process for military service proved more complex than Sarah initially expected. Meeting with recruiters, she learned about the various paths available to women in different service branches. While direct combat roles were still limited for women at the time, Sarah discovered opportunities in special operations support roles that would allow her to serve alongside elite units. She decided to enlist in the Navy, with the goal of eventually qualifying for special operations training. The recruiter, Petty Officer Davis, was initially skeptical about Sarah's chances, but was impressed by her preparation level and commitment. Her physical fitness scores were already above average for male recruits, and her mental aptitude tests placed her in the top percentile. The months leading up to her departure for basic training became a whirlwind of final preparations. Sarah's training intensified even further as she worked to exceed every physical standard she might face. She practiced swimming in the community pool until the lifeguards knew her by name, ran countless miles on country roads surrounding Levelland, and continued developing her combat skills through martial arts classes in a neighboring city. Her high school graduation ceremony felt surreal, while her classmates celebrated the end of one chapter and looked forward to college experiences. Sarah knew she was about to embark on something entirely different. The diploma in her hands represented not an ending, but a beginning, the first step toward a goal that many people told her was impossible. The farewell dinner her parents organized brought together family members, friends, and teachers who had supported Sarah throughout her journey. The evening was filled with pride, anxiety, and anticipation. Miguel gave a toast that brought tears to everyone's eyes, speaking about the courage it takes to pursue your dreams regardless of what others think possible. That final night at home, Sarah lay awake thinking about everything that had led to this moment. The little girl who had climbed trees and challenged boys to wrestling matches was about to test herself against the most rigorous training the military could offer. She thought about the Navy SEAL stories she had read, the incredible feats of endurance and skill required, and the unknown challenges that lay ahead. Her bags were packed with the essentials approved for basic training. But Sarah carried something more valuable than any physical possession. She carried the lessons learned from her father about perseverance, the strength inherited from her mother, and the unshakable belief that determination could overcome any obstacle. The small-town girl from Texas was ready to prove that greatness isn't determined by where you come from, but by how far you're willing to go to achieve your dreams. The bus ride to Naval Station Great Lakes felt like a journey into another universe for Sarah. As familiar Texas landscapes gave way to unfamiliar territory, she found herself surrounded by young men and women from across the country, all heading toward the same destination, but carrying vastly different dreams and motivations. Some looked nervous, others excited, and a few appeared genuinely terrified about what awaited them. Sarah spent the journey observing her fellow recruits, already beginning the mental preparation that would become crucial to her survival in the military. She noticed the confident swagger of some who thought they knew what to expect, the quiet determination of others who had clearly done their research, and the barely concealed panic of those who seemed to be having second thoughts about their decision. The arrival at boot camp shattered any remaining illusions about what military service would entail. The moment the bus doors opened, drill instructors began screaming instructions and orders that seemed designed to create maximum confusion and stress. Sarah's preparation helped her adapt quickly to the chaos, but she could see other recruits struggling to process the sudden shift from civilian to military life. Her first few weeks at boot camp proved that all her physical preparation had been worthwhile. While many recruits struggled with the demanding fitness requirements, Sarah consistently scored among the top performers in her division. The daily routine of early morning physical training, classroom instruction, drill ceremonies, and equipment maintenance became second nature to her faster than most of her peers. However, Sarah quickly learned that physical capability was only part of the equation. Military service demanded mental toughness, attention to detail, teamwork skills, and the ability to function effectively under constant pressure. The drill instructors seemed to take particular pleasure in testing every recruit's breaking point, using psychological pressure tactics that pushed people beyond their comfort zones. The first major challenge came during the swimming qualifications. Many recruits who had seemed confident on land suddenly revealed their weaknesses in the water. Sarah's countless hours in the Levelland community pool paid off as she easily passed every swimming test, including the demanding treading water exercises and underwater swims that eliminated several members of her division. Her success in the pool earned recognition from the instructors, but also created tension with some fellow recruits. A few male recruits began making comments about Sarah's performance, suggesting that the standards were being lowered or that she was receiving special treatment. These accusations stung, because they attacked the integrity Sarah valued above almost everything else. The dormitory environment provided Sarah with insights into military culture that no amount of research could have prepared her for. Living in close quarters with other recruits meant constant exposure to different personalities, backgrounds, and attitudes. Some of her bunkmates became close friends who supported each other through the toughest moments of training. Others remained distant or even hostile, particularly those who resented having women in their division. Sarah's leadership abilities began emerging during group exercises and team challenges. While some recruits focused solely on their individual performance, Sarah naturally looked for ways to help struggling teammates improve. She spent extra time coaching recruits who had difficulty with physical training, shared study techniques with those struggling in classroom sessions, and often volunteered for additional duties that benefited the entire division. This leadership style caught the attention of Petty Officer Rodriguez, one of the drill instructors who had initially been skeptical about Sarah's potential. Rodriguez had served in Afghanistan and seen firsthand how combat situations revealed true character. He recognized in Sarah the same qualities he had observed in the most effective leaders he had served alongside. The academic portion of boot camp presented different challenges that played to Sarah's strengths. Military history, naval traditions, weapon systems, and tactical principles became fascinating subjects that she absorbed eagerly. Her high school preparation in mathematics and science proved valuable when studying navigation, communication systems, and equipment maintenance procedures. However, it was during the combat training exercises that Sarah truly began to distinguish herself. Hand-to-hand combat instruction revealed skills that surprised even her instructors. The wrestling experience from high school, combined with her natural athleticism and aggressive mindset, made her formidable in close-quarters combat situations. The first time Sarah sparred with male recruits during combat training, a circle of onlookers gathered to watch. Many expected to see the woman quickly overwhelmed by larger, stronger opponents. Instead, they witnessed Sarah systematically defeat several opponents using superior technique, speed, and tactical thinking. Her victories were clean and decisive, earning grudging respect from recruits who had previously questioned her presence. News of Sarah's combat abilities spread throughout the training facility. Other divisions began requesting demonstrations, and instructors started using her techniques as examples for other recruits to study. The attention was both gratifying and uncomfortable, as Sarah preferred to focus on her own improvement rather than becoming a spectacle. The midpoint evaluation of boot camp brought the first real test of Sarah's progress. Individual assessments covered everything from physical fitness and academic performance to leadership potential and military bearing. Sarah scored exceptionally well in all categories, but more importantly, she received feedback that confirmed her suitability for advanced training opportunities. The feedback session with Petty Officer Rodriguez proved to be a pivotal moment in Sarah's military career. Rodriguez explained that her performance had attracted attention from special operations recruiters, who were always looking for exceptional candidates. He described opportunities in naval special warfare that would challenge her beyond anything she had experienced so far. This conversation introduced Sarah to possibilities she hadn't fully understood before enlisting. While she had read about Navy SEALs and other elite units, Rodriguez provided insider perspective on what those careers actually entailed. He described the selection processes, training requirements, and operational realities that separated special operations from conventional military service. The revelation that women could serve in support roles within special operations units opened new horizons for Sarah's military ambitions. Although direct combat positions remained closed to women at the time, support roles in intelligence, communications, logistics, and specialized operations offered opportunities to work alongside the most elite military units. Sarah's focus intensified during the final weeks of boot camp as she prepared for the graduation ceremony and next phase of her military career. She had already submitted applications for advanced training programs and was awaiting word about acceptance into specialized schools. The anticipation was almost overwhelming as she contemplated the possibility of achieving dreams that had seemed impossibly distant just months earlier. The graduation ceremony at Great Lakes marked a major milestone, but Sarah understood it was really just the beginning. Her parents made the journey from Texas to witness their daughter's transformation from civilian to sailor. The pride in their eyes was unmistakable, even as they struggled to recognize their daughter in the confident, disciplined young woman standing at attention during the ceremony. The leave period between boot camp and advanced training gave Sarah her first opportunity to return home and reflect on how much she had changed. Leveland looked smaller somehow, and the concerns that had once seemed important to her high school friends now felt trivial compared to the challenges she was preparing to face. During her time at home, Sarah spent hours with her father discussing her experiences and future plans. Miguel could see the military transformation in his daughter, but also recognized that she remained fundamentally the same determined person who had climbed trees and challenged boys to wrestling matches. The difference was that now she had the training and confidence to back up her ambitions. Her high school wrestling coach, Tom Bradley, organized a demonstration at the school where Sarah showed current students some of the techniques she had learned. The presentation drew a large crowd and inspired several young women to consider military careers they had never previously contemplated. Sarah realized that her success was already influencing others and creating opportunities for future generations. The final days of leave passed quickly as Sarah prepared for the next phase of her military journey. Her orders directed her to specialized training that would prepare her for assignment to units supporting naval special warfare operations. The training would be more demanding than anything she had experienced, with higher standards and greater expectations for every aspect of her performance. As she packed her bags for departure, Sarah reflected on how far she had traveled from the small Texas town where her dreams had first taken shape. Boot camp had proven that she could meet military standards and compete successfully with the best recruits the Navy could field. The real test, however, was still ahead. Her parents drove her to the airport for the flight to her next duty station. The goodbye was emotional but proud, filled with confidence that Sarah was exactly where she belonged. As the plane lifted off from Texas, Sarah looked down at the landscape that had shaped her character and felt ready for whatever challenges awaited her in the pursuit of excellence that defined special operations training. Naval Amphibious Base Coronado stretched along the California coastline like a fortress of military excellence. As Sarah's taxi approached the main gate, she could see the Pacific Ocean extending endlessly toward the horizon, its waves constantly reshaping the beaches where Navy SEALs conducted their legendary training. The sight filled her with both excitement and apprehension about the challenges that lay ahead. The specialized training program Sarah had qualified for was officially designated as Naval Special Warfare Support Training, a selective course that prepared personnel to work alongside SEAL teams in intelligence, communications, and logistics roles. While not technically part of SEAL training itself, the program demanded similar levels of physical fitness, mental toughness, and tactical proficiency from its candidates. Her arrival at the base coincided with the beginning of a new training cycle, bringing together 24 carefully selected personnel from across the Navy. Sarah quickly discovered that she was one of only 3 women in the program, a ratio that reflected the competitive selection process and the demanding nature of the training ahead. The other candidates came from diverse military backgrounds, but all shared certain characteristics that had caught the attention of special operations recruiters. They were top performers in their previous assignments, demonstrated exceptional physical fitness, and showed the kind of mental resilience required for high-pressure operations. Master Chief Petty Officer James Morrison served as the senior instructor for the program, bringing 3 decades of special operations experience to the role. Morrison had served with SEAL teams in Iraq, Afghanistan, and numerous other locations around the world. His reputation for demanding excellence was legendary throughout the naval special warfare community. During the initial briefing, Morrison made the expectations crystal clear. The training would push every candidate to their absolute limits and beyond. Physical fitness standards exceeded those of conventional Navy units. Academic requirements covered advanced topics in intelligence analysis, communications technology, and operational planning. Most importantly, candidates would be evaluated constantly on their ability to perform under stress that simulated real-world special operations environments. Morrison's eyes lingered on Sarah during the briefing, not with skepticism, but with the calculating assessment of someone evaluating potential. He had worked with female support personnel in combat zones and understood their capabilities better than most. However, he also knew that this particular training program had never graduated a female candidate, not because of discrimination, but because of the extreme demands it placed on everyone involved. The first week of training served as an extended evaluation period, designed to identify candidates who might struggle with later phases. Physical training began at 05000 hours each morning with runs along the beach, swimming in the often brutal Pacific surf, and obstacle courses that tested every aspect of fitness and coordination. Sarah's preparation served her well during these initial challenges. Her swimming ability, developed through countless hours in Texas pools and refined during boot camp, allowed her to handle the ocean conditions that troubled many other candidates. Her wrestling background provided the core strength and body awareness needed for the complex obstacle courses. Most importantly, her mental preparation helped her maintain focus when fatigue and frustration began affecting other candidates. The academic portion of training introduced Sarah to the sophisticated world of modern military intelligence and communications. Classes covered everything from satellite communication systems and data encryption to psychological operations and cultural intelligence. The complexity of the material demanded complete attention and extensive study outside of formal instruction time. Sarah found herself fascinated by the intelligence analysis coursework, which required skills in pattern recognition, data interpretation, and logical reasoning that appealed to her analytical mindset. She excelled at identifying connections between seemingly unrelated pieces of information, a talent that impressed her instructors and proved valuable during practical exercises. However, it was during the tactical training exercises that Sarah truly began to distinguish herself from other candidates. These scenarios simulated real-world missions where support personnel might find themselves in combat situations alongside SEAL teams. The exercises demanded split-second decision-making, precise execution under pressure, and seamless coordination with team members. The first major tactical exercise took place during week 3 of training. Candidates were divided into teams and tasked with planning and executing a mock hostage rescue operation. Sarah found herself assigned to a team led by Petty Officer First Class David Chen, a former surface warfare specialist who had applied for the program after serving in anti-piracy operations. The exercise scenario involved infiltrating a simulated enemy compound, gathering intelligence on hostage locations, establishing communications with supporting units, and coordinating the rescue operation. Each team member had specific responsibilities, but success required flawless teamwork and adaptability when unexpected complications arose. Sarah's role focused on communications and intelligence gathering, but the exercise quickly demonstrated that rigid job descriptions meant nothing in fluid tactical situations. When the team's planned infiltration route was compromised by simulated enemy patrols, Sarah proposed an alternative approach that utilized her small size and agility to access areas larger team members couldn't reach. Her suggestion involved crawling through a drainage system beneath the compound to establish an observation post in an unguarded area. The plan was risky and physically demanding, but it offered the best chance of obtaining the intelligence needed for a successful rescue operation. Chen accepted the proposal, and Sarah began what became the most challenging physical test of her military career to that point. The drainage system was barely large enough for her to fit through, filled with cold water and debris that made movement difficult and dangerous. Sarah had to crawl through several hundred feet of tunnel while carrying communication equipment and maintaining radio contact with her team. The claustrophobic conditions would have defeated many candidates, but Sarah's mental toughness and determination carried her through to the objective. From her concealed position inside the compound, Sarah was able to observe enemy guard rotations, identify hostage locations, and guide her team's assault with real-time intelligence updates. Her communications were clear and precise despite the stress of the situation, providing information that allowed the rescue operation to succeed with minimal complications. The exercise debrief revealed the crucial role Sarah's initiative and execution had played in the mission's success. Master Chief Morrison noted her ability to adapt quickly to changing circumstances and execute physically demanding tasks while maintaining professional competence in her primary responsibilities. Word of Sarah's performance spread throughout the training facility, attracting attention from instructors and candidates in other programs. The story of the female candidate who had crawled through a drainage system to complete a critical mission became part of base folklore, establishing Sarah's reputation as someone who could be counted on in difficult situations. The attention was both gratifying and challenging for Sarah. While she appreciated the recognition of her abilities, she also understood that exceptional performance created higher expectations for future challenges. Every subsequent test would be evaluated against the standard she had established, and any failure would be magnified because of her previous success. The second major exercise came during Week 5 and involved a multi-day field operation that tested endurance, survival skills, and mission performance under extended stress. Teams were inserted into remote wilderness areas with minimal equipment and tasked with conducting reconnaissance missions while evading pursuit by opposing forces. Sarah's team included candidates from different military backgrounds, each bringing specialized skills to the group. The diversity proved valuable as they faced challenges ranging from navigation in difficult terrain to establishing covert communication with base units. Sarah's role again focused on communications, but the extended nature of the exercise meant everyone had to contribute to all aspects of mission success. The physical demands of the exercise pushed every candidate to their limits. Days of limited sleep, restricted food, and constant movement through rugged terrain tested endurance levels that went far beyond normal military training. Sarah's preparation and mental toughness again proved crucial, as she maintained performance standards while other candidates began showing signs of fatigue and stress. On the third day of the exercise, Sarah's team encountered a situation that perfectly illustrated the unpredictable nature of special operations work. While conducting surveillance of a simulated enemy position, they discovered that opposing forces had captured another team of candidates and were holding them in a location that wasn't part of the original exercise plan. The discovery created a dilemma for Sarah's team leader. Their original mission objectives didn't include rescue operations, but leaving fellow candidates in enemy hands conflicted with military values about never abandoning teammates. After brief discussion, the team decided to attempt a rescue operation using the skills and tactics they had learned during training. Sarah played a crucial role in planning the rescue operation, using her intelligence-gathering skills to assess enemy positions and identify vulnerabilities in their security. Her small size again proved advantageous as she was able to approach the enemy position undetected and gather detailed information about guard rotations and prisoner locations. The rescue operation succeeded brilliantly, with Sarah's intelligence proving accurate and her communications coordination helping the team execute a flawless assault. The captured candidates were freed without injury, and the opposing forces were neutralized according to exercise rules. Most importantly, the operation demonstrated the kind of initiative and tactical thinking that special operations units valued most. The exercise debrief lasted several hours as instructors analyzed every aspect of the team's performance. Sarah's contributions were highlighted repeatedly, particularly her ability to gather actionable intelligence under dangerous conditions and coordinate complex operations, while maintaining focus on mission objectives. Master Chief Morrison pulled Sarah aside after the formal debrief for a private conversation that would prove pivotal to her military career. He explained that her performance during both major exercises had attracted attention from active SEAL teams looking for exceptional support personnel. While she couldn't become a SEAL herself due to existing policies, opportunities existed to work directly with SEAL teams in roles that would utilize all her demonstrated capabilities. The conversation opened possibilities Sarah hadn't fully considered before beginning the training program. Morrison described assignments where support personnel deployed alongside SEAL teams on actual missions, providing critical capabilities in intelligence, communications, and specialized operations. These roles offered the challenge and purpose Sarah had been seeking since first deciding on a military career. As the training program entered its final weeks, Sarah found herself increasingly confident about her future military career. The challenges ahead remained significant, but she had proven herself capable of meeting the demanding standards of special operations training. More importantly, she had discovered that her dreams of serving with elite military units were not only possible but actively encouraged by leaders who recognized her potential. The final phase of Sarah's specialized training brought a new element that would test everything she had learned: Direct integration with an active SEAL team conducting advanced training exercises. SEAL Team 7 had volunteered to incorporate support personnel into their training cycle, providing realistic experience for candidates while giving the team practice working with unfamiliar support elements. Commander Michael Harrison led SEAL Team 7 with the authority and confidence that came from 15 years of special operations experience. Harrison had commanded teams through multiple deployments in Iraq and Afghanistan, earning respect throughout the naval special warfare community for his tactical expertise and leadership under pressure. His decision to participate in the integration training reflected his understanding that modern special operations required seamless coordination between various specialists. The morning Sarah first reported to SEAL Team 7's compound, she felt the weight of every challenge that had led to this moment. Her uniform was immaculate, her equipment properly arranged, and her mind focused on making the best possible first impression. She understood that acceptance by an active SEAL team would determine whether her military career achieved the goals she had worked toward since leaving Texas. Commander Harrison's initial briefing was professional but direct. He explained that the integration training would simulate real operational conditions as closely as possible. The support personnel would participate in all team activities, from physical training and tactical rehearsals to mission planning and equipment preparation. Performance standards would match those applied to SEAL team members, with no allowances made for different backgrounds or experience levels. Harrison's eyes met Sarah's during the briefing, and she detected the same calculating assessment she had seen from other special operations leaders. He was evaluating her potential while maintaining the professional distance necessary for effective military leadership. Sarah understood that earning his respect would require consistent excellence in every aspect of her performance. The physical training regimen with SEAL Team 7 exceeded anything Sarah had previously experienced. Morning runs along the beach stretched for miles through soft sand that made every step an effort. Swimming exercises took place in ocean conditions that challenged even the most experienced swimmers. Obstacle courses were more complex and demanding than those used in conventional training programs. Sarah's preparation and conditioning allowed her to keep pace with the SEAL team members, but just barely. The men she was training alongside had years of experience and conditioning that showed in their effortless handling of challenges that pushed her to her absolute limits. However, her determination and refusal to quit earned recognition from team members who understood the difficulty of what she was attempting. The tactical training exercises with SEAL Team 7 introduced Sarah to operational complexity that went far beyond anything covered in her previous training. Mission planning required detailed analysis of enemy capabilities, environmental factors, equipment limitations, and coordination with supporting units. Every aspect of an operation had to be considered and planned for, with backup plans developed for likely contingencies. Sarah's role in these exercises focused on intelligence gathering and communication coordination, but she quickly learned that SEAL operations demanded flexibility from everyone involved. When situations changed rapidly during exercises, team members had to adapt their roles and responsibilities to maintain mission effectiveness. This adaptability became one of the most important skills Sarah developed during the integration training. The first major test came during a complex nighttime exercise that simulated a reconnaissance mission in enemy territory. Sarah's responsibilities included maintaining communication with base units, gathering intelligence on enemy positions, and providing real-time updates on changing tactical situations. The mission required the team to infiltrate a heavily defended area, gather specific intelligence, and extract without detection. The infiltration phase went smoothly, with the team moving through difficult terrain in complete darkness while avoiding simulated enemy patrols. Sarah's night vision training proved valuable as she navigated alongside team members who moved with the confidence of extensive experience. Her equipment functioned perfectly, and her communications with base units remained clear and professional. However, complications arose during the intelligence gathering phase when the team discovered that enemy positions had changed from what pre-mission briefings had indicated. The altered situation required rapid adaptation of the original plan, with new approach routes and modified objectives that tested everyone's ability to think and react under pressure. Sarah found herself in a crucial position when the team's communications specialist suffered a simulated injury that removed him from the mission. Without functioning communications, the team would be unable to coordinate with supporting units or call for extraction if needed. The success of the entire operation suddenly depended on Sarah's ability to assume additional responsibilities while continuing her primary mission tasks. The equipment Sarah had to operate was more complex than anything she had used during training, requiring skills and knowledge she had to apply under the stress of a live exercise. The communications gear included multiple radio systems, encryption devices, and coordination protocols that demanded precise execution to maintain operational security. Despite the pressure and complexity, Sarah successfully established and maintained communications with all supporting units, while continuing to gather and report intelligence on enemy positions. Her performance was flawless, demonstrating the kind of competence under stress that special operations demanded from all personnel. The mission continued for another 6 hours, with Sarah maintaining her expanded responsibilities throughout the remainder of the exercise. When the team finally reached the extraction point, they had successfully completed all objectives while adapting to multiple complications that had tested their training and teamwork. The post-mission debrief lasted several hours as instructors and team members analyzed every aspect of the exercise. Sarah's performance during the communications crisis was highlighted as an example of the adaptability and competence that made the difference between mission success and failure. Commander Harrison noted her ability to assume additional responsibilities without sacrificing performance in her primary role. More importantly, the SEAL team members began treating Sarah as a fully integrated part of their unit rather than a trainee they were evaluating. The subtle shift in attitude was evident in how they included her in informal discussions, sought her input on tactical questions, and relied on her contributions during subsequent training exercises. This acceptance by the team created new challenges for Sarah, as expectations for her performance increased to match those applied to experienced SEAL team members. Every mistake was noticed and evaluated, but so was every success. The standards were demanding but fair, reflecting the reality that special operations left no room for mediocrity. The second major test came during a multi-day field exercise that simulated a complex direct-action mission. The scenario involved infiltrating an enemy facility, capturing high-value targets, gathering intelligence materials, and extracting under pursuit by opposing forces. Sarah's role included pre-mission intelligence analysis, communication coordination during the operation, and post-mission processing of captured materials. The mission planning phase required Sarah to analyze intelligence reports, satellite imagery, and human intelligence sources to develop a comprehensive picture of the target facility and surrounding area. Her analysis had to identify enemy strengths and weaknesses, optimal approach routes, potential complications, and extraction alternatives. The intelligence briefing she prepared would guide the team's tactical decisions throughout the operation. Sarah's briefing impressed both instructors and team members with its thoroughness and clarity. She had identified details about enemy positions that others had missed, proposed tactical approaches that minimized risks while maximizing chances of success, and anticipated complications that could affect mission timing and execution. The quality of her work demonstrated intelligence analysis skills that matched those of experienced professionals. The operation itself tested every aspect of Sarah's training and preparation. The infiltration required movement through difficult terrain while carrying heavy equipment and maintaining communication security. The assault phase demanded precise coordination and split-second timing to achieve objectives while minimizing exposure to enemy fire. The extraction challenged endurance and determination as the team moved to pickup points while evading pursuit. Throughout the operation, Sarah performed flawlessly in her assigned roles while remaining ready to adapt as situations changed. Her communications were clear and accurate, providing information that allowed supporting units to coordinate effectively with the ground team. Her intelligence gathering during the mission provided valuable insights that enhanced the overall success of the operation. The most challenging moment came during the extraction phase, when pursuing enemy forces threatened to intercept the team before they could reach the pickup point. The situation required immediate tactical decisions about whether to stand and fight, attempt to evade, or modify extraction plans to reach alternative pickup locations. Sarah's real-time analysis of enemy movements and capabilities provided crucial information that allowed Commander Harrison to make informed tactical decisions. Her recommendations about enemy weaknesses and optimal evasion routes proved accurate, enabling the team to avoid contact while successfully reaching the extraction point. The exercise concluded with complete mission success and no simulated casualties among team members. The post-mission analysis revealed that Sarah's contributions had been essential to the positive outcome, particularly her intelligence work and communication coordination under pressure. Commander Harrison's evaluation of Sarah's performance marked a turning point in her military career. His report recommended her for assignment to active SEAL teams with full confidence in her ability to contribute effectively to real-world operations. The recommendation carried significant weight throughout the special operations community, opening opportunities that had previously seemed impossible. However, the path ahead would present new challenges as Sarah prepared to transition from training environments to actual operational assignments. The skills and confidence she had developed would be tested in ways that no exercise could fully simulate, and the stakes would be real rather than simulated. The assignment to SEAL Team 5 came with a mixture of excitement and trepidation that Sarah had never experienced before. After months of grueling training and evaluation, She was finally joining an active team preparing for deployment to Afghanistan. The reality of serving in a combat zone brought sobering recognition that her training was about to be tested in situations where mistakes could have deadly consequences. SEAL Team 5 operated from a compound at Naval Amphibious Base Coronado that buzzed with constant activity. Team members moved with the confident purpose of professionals who had refined their skills through multiple deployments. The atmosphere was serious but not tense, reflecting the balance between intense focus and calm professionalism that characterized elite military units. Lieutenant Commander Robert Thompson commanded SEAL Team 5 with the quiet authority that came from leading men through some of the most dangerous missions in modern warfare. Thompson had earned his reputation during 3 previous deployments, where his tactical decisions and leadership under fire had saved lives and accomplished objectives that others had thought impossible. His acceptance of Sarah into his team carried weight throughout the special operations community. The integration process with SEAL Team 5 differed from Sarah's training experiences because she was now working with operators who would depend on her capabilities in life-or-death situations. The evaluation period was comprehensive but accelerated, covering everything from technical proficiency to personal compatibility with team members who had worked together for years. Thompson's initial conversation with Sarah set expectations that went beyond anything covered in formal training. He explained that special operations success depended on absolute trust between team members, and that trust had to be earned through demonstrated competence under the most challenging conditions imaginable. Her gender was irrelevant to him, but her ability to perform when lives depended on it was everything. The pre-deployment training cycle with SEAL Team 5 pushed Sarah's capabilities to new levels as she prepared for the operational environment in Afghanistan. The training scenarios were based on actual missions the team had conducted during previous deployments, providing realistic preparation for the challenges they would face in theater. Physical conditioning remained crucial, but now it was combined with mission-specific skills that would be essential for operations in Afghanistan. Sarah learned advanced mountaineering techniques for operations in rugged terrain, practiced high-altitude combat tactics that accounted for reduced oxygen levels, and mastered communication procedures for coordinating with various military units operating in the region. The team's preparation included extensive cultural training that would help them work effectively with Afghan military and civilian populations. Sarah's analytical skills proved valuable in understanding the complex tribal and political dynamics that influenced military operations throughout the country. Her ability to process and synthesize large amounts of cultural intelligence became an important asset for mission planning. Weapons training with SEAL Team 5 introduced Sarah to equipment and tactics that went far beyond her previous experience. The team's arsenal included specialized weapons systems designed for specific mission requirements, from precision rifles for long-range engagements to compact assault weapons for close-quarters combat. Sarah's natural shooting ability, refined through countless hours of practice, allowed her to quickly achieve proficiency with all team weapons. The close-quarters combat training revealed the full extent of skills Sarah had been developing since her high school wrestling days. Working with SEAL team members who were among the most skilled fighters in the military, she continued improving techniques that could mean the difference between life and death in combat situations. During one particularly intense training session, Sarah found herself paired against Petty Officer First Class Marcus Johnson, a veteran of 4 deployments who had earned a reputation as one of the most skilled hand-to-hand combat specialists in the team. Johnson was respected throughout the special operations community for his fighting ability and had trained military personnel around the world. The sparring session began as a routine training exercise designed to maintain skills and build confidence. Johnson approached the session with professional respect for Sarah's abilities, but also with the assumption that his superior size, strength, and experience would give him a clear advantage. What followed would become legendary within SEAL Team 5 and eventually throughout the wider special operations community. Sarah's approach to the combat engagement reflected everything she had learned about using intelligence, speed, and technique to overcome physical disadvantages. She studied Johnson's fighting style during the initial exchanges, identifying patterns and preferences that revealed potential vulnerabilities. Her wrestling background provided the foundation for grappling techniques, but her analytical mind allowed her to process tactical information rapidly and adapt her strategy accordingly. The turning point came when Johnson attempted a takedown technique that had worked successfully against numerous opponents in the past. Sarah recognized the setup and countered with a combination of moves that used Johnson's momentum against him. In a sequence that lasted only seconds but seemed to unfold in slow motion for the observers, Sarah executed a perfect hip throw that sent Johnson crashing to the mat with stunning force. The impact of Johnson hitting the mat echoed through the training facility like a thunderclap, followed by complete silence as everyone processed what had just happened. Johnson lay motionless for a moment, more stunned by the unexpected defeat than by any physical injury. Sarah stood ready to continue, but the expression on her face showed that she understood the significance of what had just occurred. The silence stretched until Johnson began laughing, a reaction that surprised everyone present. As he got to his feet, he extended his hand to Sarah with genuine respect and admiration. His reaction set the tone for how the rest of the team would respond to Sarah's demonstration of combat skills that matched or exceeded their own. Lieutenant Commander Thompson had observed the entire exchange from across the training facility. His expression revealed both surprise and satisfaction as he witnessed confirmation that Sarah's capabilities justified the confidence he had shown in adding her to his team. The moment represented validation of his decision to integrate her into SEAL Team 5. Word of Sarah's victory over Johnson spread quickly through the base, creating a reputation that preceded her wherever she went. The story was told and retold, with details that grew more impressive with each telling. However, the most important audience was SEAL Team 5 itself, where her achievement earned the complete acceptance and respect of operators who had initially been uncertain about working with someone from outside their traditional community. The combat demonstration had effects beyond mere recognition of Sarah's fighting abilities. It established her credibility as someone who could hold her own in any situation, removing doubts that might have affected team dynamics during critical missions. More importantly, it showed that she possessed the warrior mindset that defines special operations personnel. The incident also caught the attention of Commander Harrison and other special operations leaders who recognized its significance for the future of women in elite military units. Sarah's success provided concrete evidence that gender was not a reliable predictor of combat effectiveness, opening discussions about expanding opportunities for women throughout the special operations community. As SEAL Team 5's deployment date approached, Sarah found herself fully integrated into a unit that had initially been uncertain about accepting her. The team's confidence in her abilities was complete, based on demonstrated competence rather than theoretical potential. She had proven herself through the most rigorous evaluation process the military could provide. The final weeks before deployment were filled with mission briefings, equipment preparation, and personal arrangements for extended absence from home. Sarah used this time to communicate with her family in Texas, sharing what little information security protocols allowed about her upcoming assignment. Her parents understood the significance of what their daughter had achieved, even without knowing specific details about her training and assignment. The little girl who had climbed trees and challenged boys to wrestling matches had fulfilled her promise to serve with the most elite military units in the world. The night before deployment, Sarah reflected on the journey that had brought her to this point. From small-town Texas to the threshold of combat operations with Navy SEALs, every challenge had prepared her for the ultimate test of serving her country in the most demanding circumstances imaginable. Her success had shattered assumptions about women's capabilities in special operations, but more importantly, it had opened doors for future generations of female service members who would follow in her footsteps. The impact of her achievements would extend far beyond her individual military career, influencing policies and attitudes throughout the special operations community. As SEAL Team 5 prepared for their mission in Afghanistan, Sarah carried with her the confidence that came from proving herself against the highest standards the military could set. The challenges ahead would be real and dangerous, but she was ready to face them alongside teammates who trusted her completely and commanders who valued her contributions. The small-town girl from Levelland, Texas, had become something extraordinary through determination, skill, and unwavering commitment to excellence. Her story would inspire others to pursue their own impossible dreams, proving that greatness is not determined by where you start, but by how far you're willing to go to achieve your goals.